Hi everybody, I'm the Rum.
And I'm the Wine.
We're an expat couple living here in Dublin, Ireland for the past 4 years. We make videos about what it's like to live in Ireland, specifically Dublin, and also what it takes to be good, nice little expats living here in a foreign country, and what it takes to come over and join us yourself.
If you're interested in Ireland or being or becoming an expat, make sure to subscribe and also watch a backlog of videos. We've done a lot of stuff with a lot of helpful tips about living in Ireland. So if you're a more long-term subscriber, you probably know that we talk a lot about how for us living in the city is a big deal because it's close to work, we get to save time, we get to save money on transport. However, the thing is, like probably quite a few other people, we have been working from home since March and will probably continue to do so for quite some time. And suddenly the city centre doesn't look that appealing anymore. But it took us a while to realise that, and also a trip.
Yes, I keep mentioning this magical journey to West Cork because...
It's just because it was the only holiday we went on this year, those 3 days.
Yes, but despite that, it was just a complete difference. Because as, the Wine said, we love the city centre. Any of our videos, we were just like, if you have the money, etc., that, be in the city centre, it's where to go. Yeah, that trip kind of changed our tune, because what happens is that the things that are valuable to you in the city centre, they kind of don't exist as much when the current situation is how the current situation is. But it was also a nice return to the things that I realised that, you do love. Wide open spaces, etc., that sense of adventure, and, just space. Just a space to be freely roaming about outside or in your home.
So when we came back from the trip and we were back in the city, we realised all these little things that we'd been missing. So where we lived in the city centre, I guess everywhere in the city centre is pretty crowded because it's a lot of apartment blocks, so obviously a lot of people live there. And usually the streets aren't necessarily that constructed for that many people because they're very old streets. So it tends to be very crowded. The only green space we sort of had is the Grand Canal, like that we could walk down to and take a walk along. But there were always people, even in the rain. It's like we tried to deliberately go out in the rain, and not even then, there were a bit less people, but it didn't help either.
Yeah. If anybody knows, Portobello side where people are there with their cans, if you've been there, what day is it? Any public holiday, and the poor
Weekends,
folks have to
evening.
clean up.
Oh.
Yeah, that area with those cans, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so that wasn't a walk we liked doing anymore with the whole pandemic thing going on. And other downsides we realised were that all the benefits that drew us to the city centre, like how close it is to work, to shops, if we want to go out, which to be honest we didn't do that much, but if we wanted to, we could. It would just be a relatively short walk away. Those things just didn't really exist anymore, like to spontaneously go out and be like, I'm lazy, don't want to cook, let's go. Or let's go to the cinema.
Cocktails.
Yeah, like all those things aren't things right now, so those benefits just fall away. And also, because we lived in the city centre, because we used to go further for shopping, but with the whole situation and the bigger shops in the city centre having very big queues, we started going to smaller convenience stores, which have a bit less queues. Like if you're not aware, just in case, so what Ireland does is the number of people who are allowed inside a shop are restricted, and that depends on the size of the shop. So a very small place might only allow 6 people in. A bigger shop, of course, more, but then also more people go to the bigger shop because they think it'll be easier to get in, and it's like you're going to be queuing either way. But it made it a lot harder to find places or times as well. We tried a lot of different times where you don't have to queue for too long.
Yeah, we were actually almost like experts at this. It's kind of like we were going at different times per day and we're like, okay, this is when you gotta go before the lunchtime crowd or stuff like that. So we got pretty synced up over the past 6 months, but it was still a lot more effort that you're used to going lazily to a store without, thinking about it.
And much more of a time investment as well. So like we mentioned, we've been working from home since March, which also means that we were using our flat not really in the way we'd intended when we moved there. Like, you don't notice how small 29 square meters are until you're kind of locked in a way, and you just spend even your work days there, your free time there, and it can start feeling a bit claustrophobic, and like everywhere you turn around is like the same four walls that you always see.
Except, yeah, the thing is that we haven't really showed you how much of the apartment. There was one shining light. I'm gonna talk about the window.
Yes.
The reason why, you never saw our apartment, because we could tell exactly where we are. But it was just that it had this huge, beautiful window that you could just take a look at what else happening on the street. Those sunsets, mostly sunsets, sunsets, sunrises, and the activity there, that was like our window to the world. Everything else was a drab wall. So, he survived well enough, which you'll hear in another video. But yeah, those sort of things just started getting to you after a while, especially after West Cork. Lovely, lovely place.
And on top of that, since we're both working from home, we were both working from home in the living room, because neither of us wanted to have to sit on the bed all day. Like, we're too old to be doing that to our backs. I think pretty much anyone is too old to be doing that to their backs. It's like, it'll ruin your posture.
Aging us. I'm sorry, I can't work on a bed. My back, help me. It's like, comfort, chair's better.
Yeah, because I know colleagues did that they would go for calls and stuff to the bedroom, but we were just like, no. That is too comfortable. We're not paying for a physio or trying to find a physio during pandemic times. So we were both working from essentially the same, I don't know, probably 12 square meters or something, almost sitting next to each other, taking calls quite a few times at the same time, because why does everyone set meetings for 10:30? Like, you could come up with some different types of day.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that not only did we have work, there's these things as well, So we're also shooting videos in the same space, and it was like, hi, these walls, they're there, talking to us now.
Yeah. And sometimes we got lazy about putting away the video equipment. So I'd realize as I'm sitting there in a video call, and I see my colleagues squinting at the screen and being like, what on earth is that in the background of our apartment?
It's like, ignore that. We do YouTube videos.
So if you think our living room was small, well, our kitchen was even smaller. Like, the two of us standing in it at the same time was only possible with no sudden movements.
Impossible.
Cooking at the same time was impossible. Like, I had a step stool in the corner that I sometimes would step on to get out of the way. So it was not the most ideal place to suddenly be making all of these meals from home, and especially since we wanted to get into more taking care of a diet and just cooking more ourselves or trying out new recipes. Not the ideal environment if you're very cramped.
Yeah, but the thing it did make us do is we're coordinated, man. We just what we did in the kitchen, and just telepathy. Still that's a hot pot movie, dodging like the Matrix. That was fun. But the other thing was that we didn't want to dodge the disease-carrying vectors called humans out there as well. Yes, I'm going to keep up with that joke because I love it. Yeah, and so, really what we wanted was some more space that we could walk side by side without wondering, am I going to touch that person? Yes, are they going to touch me? We don't want these things in normal times, but even more so now. And the other thing is that some of our friends and people we knew one by one were just leaving the city centre. I heard about people having a mass exodus from New York and LA, but it was crazy. It was Dublin too. We had a couple of friends and we were just like, oh yeah, cool. You got that spot there. Wait a minute, that's not Dublin. You're moving outside of Dublin. It's a lot of people going to Meath, as you mentioned. So many. We were like, you know what? All these people going out of county, etc., going at home, maybe there's something to it, but we kind of still like the city so much that we were kind of yeah, no, we're going to stay in the city, but just a bit farther out. County Dublin is pretty huge. Yes, I can call it huge. I'm from Barbados, okay? Everything can be huge to me. I am excused. Thank you. So, since we knew County Dublin's a big place, we decided let's go north instead of more south. Yeah, we're originally Northsiders because when we came here, it's like, hi, where are we gonna live? Oh, Dublin 3. That sounds nice. Loved it there. Miss certain little places to eat. Which, coincidentally enough, by coming this far north, we've kind of lost our set of takeouts. Back in the city centre, every 5 minutes we're seeing a delivery driver, rider. I keep saying driver for some reason. I've seen one delivery rider up here because they were going back home. Because Deliveroo doesn't exist up here. We're too far north.
Maybe they were really lost. I hope not.
I hope they're going back home because this is a really far place to be lost.
It's like at the latest, once you start seeing the fields, you probably realize this is not the city anymore.
Yes. Talking of fields counts as green space. That's what's behind us. A field. Fields, you may say. But around us, there are parks. There's lovely parks. We've gone walking, etc. We've missed having an actual park to walk in. Walking by Grand Canal. That's cool. But it was also my path to work. So, it wasn't as relaxing as walking through, Fairview or other parks. I don't know much other parks. Phoenix Park is too huge to walk through. That is a trek.
We
That's
found
an
it out the
adventure.
hard way.
Yeah. If you've been like an original subscriber, first 50, you would see our video of our walk through Phoenix Park the first time.
And regretting it later. So we realized we also have to go back home.
Yeah, but the thing is that we have moved to a place and, we've got a bigger kitchen. We're cooking more. Two of us can be side by side and not having to pretend to be Neo from the Matrix. And I keep making Matrix references. Jeez, I'm such a millennial. Anywho. So yeah, we've got our green parks. We've got our more space. We've got, our more time, etc. That. Sure, we have our stores. Oh, I forgot the stores are bigger. I don't need to wait outside in queues, etc. like that. So it's kind of cool to just be like, okay, let's go in for something. Everything's spacious and wide enough. Got on your mask and stuff. That is really more efficient. We love the, not having to wait around. So all in all,
especially when it's raining.
Yeah, all in all, a good positive, change we've made. We're pretty happy here. So yeah, suggestions, as long as this place can, not even just the pandemic continuing, but I think that it's really important that even if you're in a place for a while, even unless, you've already built or lived in your perfect place, it's cool to move around. We're here for Dublin, and in Dublin, you can't stay in one place all the time. If you're in a place, etc., that a country or whatever you're visiting to, look around, see, move, etc. That. Moving is hard, as you can hear in some of our other videos, but we're really glad that, after 4 years here, we decided to move somewhere else. So we're going to experience a different part of, Dublin and Ireland, even in these trying times.
So those were the reasons we moved out of the city centre, even though we always said we wouldn't. But we're also really enjoying it. So let us know in the comments, did you move because of the pandemic? Did you move to a different part of town or outside of a town? We're really curious to know how this trend, if this also happens in other cities, in other countries.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Check out the playlist, as we said, and any links we have in the description. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bis später.
Bye.